We are not on a cruise.
We're not on a cruise. But we needed to talk about the snorkeling.
And due to the unprecedented amount of interest in our videos, we thought we needed to give it some extra zazz here and talk about the footage before you show you the footage.
Yeah. I'm having a lot of fun with the comments. Thanks, guys.
All right, so we're going to start with what our expectations were going into this with snorkeling. Because she'd snorkeled before, but
once.
So long ago it might as well have never happened.
Hey.
And I never did. And it was one of those, for me, it was an activity I couldn't get excited about because somebody in our comments said, can't wait for the scuba videos. Like, well, I hate to tell you, there aren't going to be any. But as for snorkeling, it's hard to get excited about the idea of snorkeling because you don't really go anywhere compared to scuba, where you really are going way down there. But we'll get into that. But we watched people's videos of the snorkeling that they did at Castaway Cay, and I was willing to try it out.
Okay, and this has been said before, but I think it bears repeating. I float. I'm a buoy.
And I don't.
He's a friggin' rock. Boom. We don't know. He can't even like lay on his back in the water. I don't know what the deal is, but he gets all tense and I think that's, honestly, I think that's it. I think you're tense in the water, and so you sink. Where I'm relaxed, and I float. Bloop, bloop, bloop. But I've always floated.
No, I didn't used to sink like a rock, but yeah, now I do, and there's just no getting around it.
Yeah, so I was concerned about him. You know the scenes, you ever see one of the scenes from Pirates of the Caribbean where the pirates are underwater and they're walking on the bottom because they're dead and they're walking on the bottom of the ocean? It's kind of what I pictured him doing. Except that would make him panic, so I don't think that would have worked either. No. So.
Now the other thing is, here's a clip of when I was looking at the snorkel lagoon from the ship and how naive I was. So in just a little while, that's where we'll be snorkeling. It doesn't seem all that far to be going, but Jamie's making a big thing about how exhausting it's going to be just to get to like where those pelicans are. But we'll see.
So
pretty naive.
All right. So expectations. Have we actually said what they were? Because I thought he was going to really struggle, and that I was just going to float my way to things to look at, and then float my way back. My only concern was things in the water with me. That's what I don't do well with. I don't like sea creatures. I just don't. Love to swim. Hate sea creatures.
Well, Jamie kept saying over and over about how exhausted we were going to be. Like 10 minutes into the snorkeling, we're going to need an all-day nap, and we're going to have to eat all the food and all this.
To be fair, if we go to Disney for an hour and a half, you need an all-day nap. I mean, these were not unprecedented thoughts that I was having.
Right.
I really thought you were going to exhaust yourself.
So conversely, I thought snorkeling would be easy because we saw other people's videos, they made it look easy. And our complaint was, well, how come someone's like so close to the surface of the water all the time? Well, we'll get into that.
Okay, so we booked the snorkel package through Disney. And actually, we ended up booking the Castaway Cay Day package, which included things we never used. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we didn't need to do that.
Well,
we thought we
used
would.
Priority get off the ship.
Well, we would have done that if we just done the snorkel package.
Wow.
Okay, so the Castaway Cay package was on our bike rental, which I thought he was going to use, and he didn't. Floats and rafts, which I swore I was going to use, and I didn't. And then the snorkel equipment, which is the mask, the breathing tube, flippers. And if you go snorkeling, even if you bring your own stuff, you have to wear their yellow vest, their little life vest. It's got a tube. You can blow it up, get more air, keep you buoyant, or you can leave it empty, which if you're already as buoyant as I am, is what needs to happen, because I didn't like it. I didn't like having that buoyant thing around my neck. It was ticking me off, honestly. And then I deflated it and I was much happier. So we go to the snorkel place, which is called Diggs. No, what was the name? What was it? It sounds like Diggs.
Gills and Rain.
Gills. That's it. Gills. And told them we had the snorkel pack. Did I have to show them anything? Did I show them something on my phone? Or no. Oh, I think they had her name. Or they asked for the room number.
Yeah,
that was it. Yep. So they asked for the room number. Oh, I want to go back for a second. You said we had an excursion, which meant we didn't have to get in the virtual queue to get off the ship. So if you book anything to do on the island, that is considered your ticket to get off the ship at any time you want. You don't have to get in the virtual queue. So we went down when the all clear was. We were one of the first people off the island.
The all clear was the literal all clear when the rain stopped.
Yes, because it was raining. It poured right before it was time to get off the ship, and stopped by the time we got off the ship. So that worked out perfectly. So we went and we got our snorkel masks and our fins and our breathing apparatus, and they gave us a bag to put it in. We never used that. I'm not sure what that was about. And our vests. Prior to this, I had been looking at the full face masks on Amazon, where the tube is integrated into the whole thing and it's just one piece. And we ended up buying a couple of those. Ta-da! So your mouth ends up down here, and this kind of integrates itself with the tube. And then your eyes and your nose are here, and so it's a full... Oh, actually, look at that. The nose is part of the mouth thing.
Oh.
We could have been breathing through our noses. Nobody knows. And then this goes around the back of your head. It's a weird thing to put on your head at first. You get used to it. My problem was I couldn't get the seal to work on this side of my face, and water kept getting in. It wasn't getting into my nose and mouth. I had no trouble breathing, but I was going blind from the salt water in my eyes. So it was not working. So I don't know if I just have to adjust the straps or figure out why this was doing what it was doing. It was almost as if my face was too narrow. Nothing on me is too narrow. So I don't know what it was, but I like these, and I like that it was completely hands-free, and you didn't get any salt in your mouth like you did with the other one. So I think we're gonna give these another try at some point. I am anyway. Okay, so we had found chairs right near the snorkel area, put our stuff down, got our masks ready, grabbed our flippers, put our vests on. I think I put air in mine. He put a little bit of air in his, but not very much.
Yeah, very so little, like I might as well not even have put any in.
So we go out to the water. Water's nice and warm in September. And we're holding on to each other, trying to get all this stuff together and the flippers on, and it was, with the waves coming in, I'm sure it was a delight to watch. We get going and we start swimming out there. I didn't like the flippers, and I didn't like the flippers mostly because I've got because of the plantar fasciitis in my feet and the torn tendons in my feet, things that are not normal position for my feet tend to make them cramp. And I was really worried that in the position my feet were going in these flippers, that I was going to have trouble. And I couldn't like just stand upright, not even stand. I couldn't bob upright because the flippers were in the stupid way. It was throwing off my balance. So I'm struggling with the flippers, and I'm struggling with water coming in the side of my face. And this buoy thing that it wraps, there's a strap around your waist. Well, I didn't have it tight enough, so the whole thing came up. I'm being choked by it. I was not having a good time at this point.
And we're barely
we were I don't know, 200 feet off the beach. Meanwhile, what was happening to you?
Well, first of all, I learned quickly. I was going to say this for later. I'm just going to say it now. The drop off to do the snorkeling is very quick. So if you're used to like Serenity, where it's just flat, Illinois flatness the whole way out, pretty much to the end. No, it's not like that. It's like Finding Nemo, where literally it just suddenly drops, and it can't be more than like say 5 yards off of the beach. But even then, like if you get in the water and you're like, I will now put on my flippers, it's too soon for that. You actually need to kind of walk a few steps out in your bare feet and then put your flippers on at the last moment before the drop.
Well, I was watching a lot of people put them on out of the water, and then once they got to the water, turning around and walking in backwards. And it seemed to work really well.
Okay.
So we just hadn't come up with that idea.
Yeah, no, I was walking forward like a doofus.
Yeah.
So I'm raring to go. I got my GoPro clone. And
Faux Pro.
Yeah, my Faux Pro. So all hot to trot. I get out there, and I wasn't too far along when I went to go kind of like take a moment and just touch down, and there was no down. Like there was no floor. It was just keep going, and like, oh crap. And then I'm trying to kick and swim up to stay up above water. And then I just drop right back down again. Now I'm starting to panic because through that tube thing, I wasn't getting enough air, especially when panicking. And then I started hyperventilating. And immediately I'm like, forget it. I got to get back to shore, or more to the point, I got to get back to the drop-off part so I can at least stand up in the water and not have to swim. And I'm kicking and hyperventilating and freaking out.
And I notice a disturbance next to me, so I turn, and he's heading back toward shore in a big floofaloo.
Yeah. And then I finally get to where I can stand, and then the stupid flippers, like you said.
Yeah, you couldn't get your feet under you.
Can't get your feet under you, and then as a result of everything, I pulled a Charlie horse.
Yeah.
Which is so what you need when you're desperate to stand up and not be swimming.
I went back with him just because I was afraid that I might have to actually pull him out of the water at some point.
Well, at that point I was done. Like when I got out of the water and got all the stuff off and was back at the chair, I'm like, well, you go have fun with that snorkeling, but I'm not going out anymore.
And I'm like, nope, I'm doing this. This is not that hard. I was having a couple of issues, but I figured it wasn't a big deal. I could do this. Okay, so he's given up. He's ticked, and he's in pain.
And trying to get my breath back to a normal rate.
And I'm like, give me the GoPro. I'm doing this. Now, I cannot remember. I feel like I went back out with the mask we bought, and still was having trouble, so I came back and swapped it for the Disney one. Or I swapped it right away. I can't remember anymore. So this is either attempt 2 or 3 on my part. I go out. It had to be 2. I go out, and I'm going along, and I'm filming, and there's not a lot to see at first. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. This is no problem. I'm just going to keep kicking. And I swapped the flippers for the water shoes, and I took the air out of my vest. And I was fine. I was having no problems at all, other than kept getting salt in my mouth from the blow tube for the Disney set. but not a huge deal. Once in a while, just kind of emptied out. And I'm like, this is cool. This is easy. This is great. That's a stingray. And up the tube went, oh, hell no. And the next 3 minutes of video footage is my panicked attempt to get back to the shore, where I had to keep looking back over my shoulder to see if it was following me. And at one point, there was a big gray shadow, and I thought he had a shark friend with him. It was my shadow. But I didn't know that. I'm freaking out.
So look at the footage, because it's so funny when we were reviewing it back in the room. Nothing's happening, nothing's happening. Suddenly the camera does one of these, and then the stingray goes by at the corner, and then the rest is all scramble, scramble.
Oh, yeah.
So there it is.
Yeah.
Out of the water,
and now
like, nope.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Nope, not happening. Stingray almost died. Not happening. So I sit down. He's now intrigued. There's a stingray?
Well, here's what did it for me to get me to go out one more time. So there's this song I never heard in my life, as far as I know, until we went to Castaway, the last cruise. And they played it on the tram, and I don't know who sings it, but it's the song that goes, you can get it if you really want, but you must try, 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 try. Well, they were playing it on the beach. And I'm sitting there like, well, okay, I mean, you're right. I didn't really give it my best effort. And maybe the flippers were the wrong thing, and I should use the water shoes, and I should put air in my vest, and I used the Disney mask. But see, again, I should have said something more about that, like with expectations, but we'll catch it here. I figured rental crud from Disney was going to be garbage, and therefore, well, of course you buy your own mask from Amazon because it'll be infinitely superior to whatever they have at Castaway. Wrong. I did fine with the stuff they rent you at Castaway. I didn't have problems with water getting up in my mask, or if I did, I'm not aware of it.
No.
The tube was fine in my mouth.
Yeah.
The thing it's got that this one I don't think does is, besides that you've got the air tube per use, they also have a one-way valve that if water is starting to get in, you can breathe real hard and then expel it.
Okay, so you see this ball right here? I'm talking to you. This ball right there, that's what keeps water from getting down into the tube, because as this goes under, the ball goes up and blocks it. See?
Okay.
So that you won't get water in this tube. That was the point of this. Also, this came with a GoPro mount, and I thought he could put the GoPro on here, which he didn't do.
Nope.
Okay.
Um,
So, you geared up for try number 2.
well, my attempt number 2, right?
Yes.
So that's a long way to go to not, if your intent is to snorkel, then snorkel. So, and I was watching other people do it, and I'm like, obviously it's not impossible.
And there's a stingray to
And
try
now
and
there's
find.
a stingray to go see, and well, yeah, besides all the underwater stuff that we wanted to go see in the first place. So what I did was, this time I actually floated because of the air in the vest. It was an adjustment, but part of it was I sat on the chair with the tube in my mouth and practiced breathing and got into it and figured, okay, if I can translate this into the water, I'll be all right. And my other thing was, don't panic, just go slow. And now that I will float, absolute worst case, if I have to just stop, then stop. And there's enough stuff out there that you can grab hold of something. So there's buoys, and then there's like the floaty rope thing. And all
I never
that.
did that.
I did. I actually deliberately went to the floaty rope.
Yes.
And actually at one point was doing one of these with the floaty rope.
I was going to say, I'm watching him. So we're sitting on the beach and it opens up like this. And all the buoys are right over here. And here's my husband going up the side. If it was a pool, he would have been the kid on the wall.
Yep.
I was like, what is he doing and where is he going?
But the thing was, I just wanted to make sure
he's not headed for anything.
Yeah, but I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be an aborted attempt again. And if it was, it's like, well, at least I have something to cling to get back if there's going to be an issue. And so finally it was, all right, I'm going to start hitting these buoys and seeing what I can see. And I'm so mad at the Faux Pro because part of it is it's set for 4K, so it really chews up memory and, well, battery. The other thing is because of the sun and everything else, you can't really see what's going on. It's all wing and a prayer, and you hope it's recording. So when I'm under there actually filming stuff, at one point a fish did one of these, like right in front of the camera, like, this is going to be awesome. Yeah, if it was ever recording any of that. Because by then it was pretty well done. And when I did make it to the stuff to see, all I could get was like 5 seconds of footage before the camera would auto shut off. But I found Mickey, like, okay, 5 seconds of Mickey just to prove I did it. Mm-hmm. So here's some of that footage.
So he's going up the sidewall, and I'm sitting, and two other girls that I had been talking to came back from snorkeling, and I said, "Did you see the stingray?" They're like, "Yeah, it was so cool." I'm like, "I almost died." I said, "He's out there now. He figured it out because he wanted to see the stingray." And I'm watching him go up the side wall, and I'm thinking, well, he's way out there. Well, for God's sake, if he can do it, I can do it. So I did what he did and figured out what the issues were and adjusted whatever needed to be adjusted. And then on my way back into the water, I stopped at the cast member who patrols. You're not allowed to swim there. It's only the snorkelers. So there's a cast member there. If somebody just tries to wade into the water, she tells them no. And I said, "You know there's a stingray out there, right?" And she goes, "Oh, is he back?" "Well, where the hell was he?" I was like, "Why does the stingray get to come and go?" She goes, "Yeah, there's one stingray and one turtle." And I said, "Oh, I was told the turtle was gone." She goes, "Oh, he might be." She goes, "But the stingray has been debarbed." Are you just telling me this to get me to go back into the water? Because none of this sounded like real stuff. And I thought, okay, I'm going to pretend it has no barb, whether or not it does. I never saw it again, so I was good. He was still going up the one side, and he needed to get over to where the buoys were. So I swam toward the buoys, figuring we'd meet in the middle, and we did. So I just took my time, prayed I didn't see anything bigger than a breadbasket, and went up and caught up with him. And then we went from like buoy to buoy, looking at all of this stuff.
So here's the other thing we learned that we weren't expecting. We were always like, I think part of the reason why we go to the Caribbean all the freaking time is that water.
Oh yeah.
It's so
It's
clear and
clear.
amazing, and oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go snorkeling. And it's so weird how little visibility you've got. And it's not like whether or not you can see underwater, because it's not like you're in a swimming pool and trying to look underwater with just your eyeball, you know. So you've already got the snorkel mask helping you out with seeing things, but the visibility is horrific. And then all of a sudden it's like, Mickey, like, wait, what?
Yeah, so there's a statue of Prince Eric down there, a blue statue, that I had forgotten was down there. Mm-hmm. And I'm snorkeling along, and it's like 6 feet visibility or whatever. And all of a sudden, this form, this body appeared in front of me, and it was blue and white and shimmery because of the water, and it looked like a ghost. And I'm pretty sure I set up the tube. Are you kidding me? Because it appeared and then disappeared.
She's back.
Yeah, it was very Haunted Mansion Bride-ish. And then I looked again, and it took form where I could actually see what, and I was like, huh, Eric, you scared the hell out of me. I was like, what is down here?
Yeah, or Opera Daisy. It was like, we'd watched other people's videos. It's like,
yeah, I did not know.
We were not informed that this was a thing.
I did not know that Daisy was down there.
Yeah.
If I had ever seen that, and Boo's Door, I had no idea Boo's Door was down there. So it was kind of cool, and I like that they're all marked with buoys, so you can just swim. You can see how far you are from the next thing to look for. So that was kind of cool. And then we just kind of took our time and headed back out of the water. Not a lot of variety of fish. Maybe a dozen different kinds of fish. Tops.
Yeah, some of it, I think, reviewing when this gets all edited together, I think maybe I'll see more stuff in hindsight now through the editing. But in the heat of it, it was like, hey, that stripy style fish again, and look, another of the same stripy fish.
There wasn't
another
a
one.
lot. and a lot of them were very plain.
Yeah.
But Disney doesn't control the ocean. So then we started heading back, and I had no idea what time it was, how long we had been out there. I did know I was starting to get hungry, and yeah, they were just about to start serving lunch when we got out of the water, so we timed it perfectly.
Yeah.
So by the time we got to lunch, starving, you saw all the food we ate.
Yep.
Anything to add about the morning session there?
No, we were out there for way longer.
I think we were out.
Like we were gonna be.
I think we were out there roughly on and off of 2 hours total. Oh, my Fitbit. Yes, my Fitbit. I put it in swim mode when we started. And it was 2 hours and 5 minutes before I turned it off. So yeah, 2 hours. Apparently swim and snorkel are two different. I don't know if I have a snorkel set. I'll have to check and see if there's a snorkel setting on this. Because you get a lot more calories burned and stuff for snorkeling than you do for swimming. I was like, 400 calories, that was not worth it. But then when I told the Fitbit app snorkeling, it was like, oh yeah, millions. So yeah. So it was fun. It wasn't nearly as exhausting as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Mostly because it was a lot of floating with a little bit. My shoulders up here killing me. I was doing this. And because I float, I don't use my legs when I swim. It just all, the rest of me drags along behind and my arms just propel me. And when my shoulders would get tired, I would doggy paddle. But I don't really use my feet. So
the other thing that I was doing is I kind of had my breathing rhythm down. So it's just kind of like just slow breaths and then the occasional expel to get whatever is starting to collect out. And it was funny as I took a nap later and I was laying in bed literally going it's like not snorkeling, but it just, I'd been doing it so much with the snorkeling, I guess it just continued.
That's funny.
And I think it kind of persisted a little bit beyond this, like that day, but not too much longer. All right, so we had lunch. So after lunch, as told kind of in the video, Jamie was like, I'm not going back out.
I wanted to. It was
actually, I think
fun.
I cut this from the video.
It was fun. I even though I didn't go back out, it was so much fun. I was just so sick of salt water. I felt like I was pruned. What was that? My fingers were really pruny in the water. brine. I felt like I had been soaked in brine. So I just wanted to hydrate, and I had brought my book. I wanted to read. So he immediately, as soon as we got done with lunch, he immediately suited up and went back out with a fresh GoPro battery.
Yup.
I sat and tried to read while it was 4 family meltdowns happened around me. They were all hungry. They all needed to go get food. So they did.
Oh, so the other thing that this time, I used the Disney mask and stuff, but I used the flippers again.
Oh yeah, he used the flippers the second time.
And
third time.
And I'm like, you know, the water shoes were okay, but my issue was they kept coming off. And then it's annoying to have to stop and put your shoe back on and all this business. To the point where I probably just could have gone out in my bare feet, really, because at that point you're not really touching ground, so the issue of stepping on sharp rocks isn't that big of a deal. But
fishy bite your toe.
But the thing with the flippers, and I knew this from other people's videos, is that you will get going if you got the flippers. And I had goals of stuff I really wanted to get film footage of. So that's why I was like, I wasn't concerned about snorkeling too soon after lunch. I was like, well, the flippers really should do the work, and they did. Because it was practically teleporting to Boo's doors, the first buoy, and then it's like Minnie's the next one. And to just like do it in the water shoes, it would have been some chugging along to get there, but it's like, nope, just flipper my way to it. I'm mad because the underwater submarine did not film either time we encountered it, we/I.
I'll have to go back.
Yeah. Sign up for our Patreon so we can go back. And do our GoFundMe. And cancel Christmas.
Venmo.
Venmo us because we didn't get footage. We need your pity, Venmo.
Those were all jokes.
Oh, hey, thanks, guys, for that Venmo.
No, stop that.
Thanks for the pity money.
You're pitiful, all right.
Yep. And the thing that was nice is that I did tootle around and hit all the buoys. And then
he was out there for a while.
Yeah, and then it was just a matter of like, now back to the beach. And were saying before in the video that the ocean was pretty well like glass through the majority of our trip.
It was very windy at Castaway.
The second jaunt after lunch that I did, waves were actually kicking up, and the tube is not straight up and down, it's bent, and water kept coming in. I'm like, oh, come on. And it was like, as I'm going.
Jeez.
So I was really like, I was doing it before, but I really was like a whale where I kept sending spray of water over my head.
Never saw any of it. So while I'm sitting on the beach waiting for him to come back, we were like one of the first chairs by the snorkel beach and by the place that you get snorkel from. And there's this little round outcrop of rock right there, kind of between the stingrays and the snorkeling. And I'm looking, and there's chairs and umbrellas, and I'm looking, and there had been a couple out there, but they went to lunch or whatever. They like had all their stuff. And I'm looking while I'm waiting for him to come back. I'm like, there's nobody over there. So when he got back, we grabbed all of our stuff and we headed over there to grab chairs. And we had it to ourselves for the rest of the day. And Ethan turned two of the chairs around so we were facing the ship instead of with our backs to the ship. So it was really nice. Yep. And I had brought the little beach cups to set in the sand. So we put our water and not get it all sandy, because that was a problem. That was an issue last time. I had nowhere to put my water and it was driving me nuts.
Yeah.
So I got a 4-pack. So whoever's on the beach with us, we are set. Mm-hmm. It was really nice. Read my book. He listened to music. May or may not have napped. Can't remember. Looked at the ship. Filmed a little video. Mm-hmm. And ended the day on quite the relaxing note. Yeah, so...
I can't believe we never set foot on Serenity.
Yeah, we didn't.
We always
We made our own.
Yep. So Serenity Junior is over by the snorkel realm. All right, so will we recommend snorkeling to people?
Absolutely.
Well, specifically at Castaway, I guess I should say, as opposed to just snorkeling.
Yeah, I'm not snorkeling where actual sharks can get me. I had enough problems with the debarbed stingray. Yes, we will definitely do it again.
Yep.
And in fact, in debating when to do the next cruise, my birthday's in January, his is in March, so February is always a nice option, but the water is cold. So that got knocked out of any consideration for any near future cruise. Because we want to be able to go in the water again. And yeah, cold water will not work for my feet. They'll cramp. They'll immediately just cramp up. So, but yeah, it was a blast. We had so much fun doing it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course, I also had a lot of fun just laying on a beach reading a book. I'm easy.
As far as like, is it worth it to go do it? Well, I guess that's subjective. I thought so.
I thought it was totally worth it.
I mean, we watched so many people's videos. I kind of thought like, well, how exciting is this going to be seeing the same old stuff? Well, first of all, not everybody shows you the stuff that's down there. And not everything is marked with the buoy that's down there. Everything of interest, like major, like, you know, for sure Mickey is marked off, and so is Minnie, as an example. But there's other hoojamagooch down there that are fish attractors. So you'll see it. It's just then you'll come up above the water like, ooh, what buoy am I coming up? Nothing, no buoys whatsoever.
Yeah, it was definitely. I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, yeah. if you like being in the water, and then yeah, I mean, if you're a real snorkeler or a real scuba diver, this is going to be like, are you kidding me? But yeah, it was still a lot of fun to us.
I mean, so, I'm definitely wanting to do it again. So
yeah.
I think that's something that
yeah.
I'm so used to the huge of get to the island, get straight to Serenity, establish a beachhead, the end.
Well, and it was so nice because this was such a trip of what did we not do the first time around. And this was definitely something we've never done before.
Yeah.
So in Disney firsts, that's a huge thing to Ethan. He loves his Disney firsts.
Oh, yeah.
So he got a big one this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I really never thought that I could do without Serenity because I'm just so used to going there. And now that, maybe the family beach isn't so bad after all, like with caveats. But
yeah.
Any trip's what you make of it, I suppose.
Yep. Okay, I think we're done. Are we done?
Yep.
We're done.
Thanks for watching.
See you soon.
How about this?
No!